All right, so we are live on Facebook a few minutes early. Welcome, Nick, and we're glad to have you here. We're looking forward to learning from you more about the different video game genres.
hmm
Remind us what we talked about yesterday. What were some of the genres we hit on then?
We talked specifically about how you can play them online, and we talked about League of Legends and sort of that genre of 5 versus 5 team battles. We talked about a few tactical shooters, similar online interaction, and
Right.
Minecraft, Fortnite, just a few other games.
Just a few, yeah. And we didn't get into the details of should you or shouldn't you let your kids play certain games or what ages are appropriate. We're just not even diving into that yet. We can get into that some more next week. But for today, we're just kind of introducing what are kind of some of the different genres. And yeah, it was fun to talk with you and Sylvie about League of Legends because as a
Mhm.
mom, I've really appreciated the critical thinking skills that I've watched you guys practice as you're playing together as a team doing League of Legends. And I also like that top down view. I think that's kind of cool. So,
It's very
all
cool.
right. All right, well, it's 12 o'clock here. It's the top of the hour, as people say. So let's just go ahead and kick this off. I'm Allison Meredith here with Holston and Garner IT, and we are delighted that you have joined us for your lunch break. If you're just randomly seeing this on your Facebook feed, please go grab a sandwich. You're in for a treat. We're just going to spend 15 minutes today, and this is the fourth session of a 10-part series where we're just diving into issues about kids and teenagers and online gaming and digital communication and all of that. So, Nick, go ahead and share your screen and let's get a big picture overview of what our topic for the day is.
Awesome. So, can everyone see this?
I can see it.
Awesome. We had a question that we asked on a survey. Tell me more about the most popular digital games. How do kids interact with others on the game? What are the benefits and cautions? And so we're going to be sort of focusing on part of this question in our discussion today. What we're not focusing on is the actual discussion, the online chatting and communication. That's a big topic, and we're going to talk about it, but we're postponing that to next week. We need a little bit more time to prepare. If you have any questions pertaining to online chatting, is it okay? How much is okay? What kind of people are my kids talking to?
Yeah, we'll
Definitely
hit
ask
that
those
next week.
questions.
Right.
Definitely ask those questions, but we won't get to them until probably next week. We're not recommending or rating games. I'm just providing some examples. Most of the examples I provide today, the Meredith family does play, but
All
that's
right.
just a disclaimer. We are going to talk about the different ways kids play games online. So I will
Jump right in. Yeah.
jump right in. All right. This is just sort of a outline, different genres we're going through, and I will explain each as we get to it, but that might be helpful for some people. Our first game is World of Warcraft, and it's part of a wider category of multiplayer online role-playing games. The way this game works, each player on their computer connects to a larger server, and you move around on a digital world on that server. You have a little character. You can see here there's this, I guess, green fish leaf kind of guy in the middle. I don't know.
Is that a
It's a
front
little
view
weird.
or a back view? I can't.
That's a great question. I
Yeah.
think it's a back view. And there's lots of different elements on his user interface on the screen here. I've highlighted one, and it's this quest. You can see it in the top right of that picture. The way games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, these massive multiplayer online role-playing games, the way they work, you have this character, you level him up, you increase his strength, and you join together with other people who are on their computers and connecting to the server. You join together to do these quests, and you can see he has a few quests over in that box there, and you complete them with other people. That's
So
the Go ahead.
that's the goal. So this is a collaborative, you're with other people remotely with
Right.
other people trying to accomplish a quest.
Right. And you want to
Okay.
be around the same power level, so you generally play with the same people for a while. You generally play with the same group. You have a little party you play with.
Okay.
Puzzle and strategy games. MMORPGs require.
Go back to that slide a minute. What do you, so, and
Yeah, let me
remind
say
me,
that.
you said yesterday there was an easy way, I think, for Minecraft when we talked about that, for parents to kind of check out the servers or realms that kids were getting on.
Right.
Is there a way for parents to kind of get more information if their kids want to play World of Warcraft? Can they figure out easily who these other players are that want to team up with their kids or teenagers, or is that
It's a lot different from Minecraft,
okay?
and a little bit harder. Instead of connecting to different servers and different realms like Minecraft, you connect to one giant server. And there are a couple sub pieces of hardware running the server, but it's one giant world that you all
Okay.
connect to.
So everybody in the world who's playing World of Warcraft is somehow okay. Well, that
Maybe,
yeah,
yeah,
that maybe
pretty
that's a
much.
conversation for next week then when we talk about that. So go ahead. You were going to say one more thing here.
This one basically requires online interaction and other people to play with. But puzzle and strategy games don't really. Here you can see a portal game. You shoot these portals and you try to solve the puzzle with them. And then over there is a strategy tower defense game where you build these towers to try and defeat the aliens. These games, great, very fun. Some of them are really easy. Some of them are really hard, but they don't really do anything online. I just wanted to touch on them briefly.
When
That's
you
sort
say
of a
do anything
contrast.
online, meaning there's not really online chatting with other players at the same time, right?
Right. You can
Yeah.
compare your scores, but
Right.
that's about it.
Sure. Okay. There's a lot of cake throwing in the portal, right? Is that the one with the cakes?
It has cake in it. That's true.
Okay. Okay. I don't play. I just know y'all talk about it. Go ahead.
4X is one of my favorite genres of games. And the 4X's are explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Basically, you build these cities, you build an empire, and hopefully you get your empire to the #1 spot by the end of the game. I play them with my family, with dad, with my brothers. I sometimes play online, but very, very infrequently. When you play these kind of games, these 4X games online, you don't really need to interact with the other players. You're competing against them to create the best civilization, but you don't really need to talk or chat with them. It's much more of a solo game, even if it's online. I do enjoy playing with my siblings and talking with them while I play, but the game itself does not require any of that.
Right. It's a very interesting Saturday afternoon when Tim gets on his computer and several teenagers get on theirs, and they are all playing Civ 5 and trying to expand their realms and
Yeah.
exterminate one another, which I know some parents are like, oh, it sounds too violent. Let's just all remember kids have been picking up sticks and going pow pow since that's like as old as dirt. So this is
Yes.
just a kind of a version of just having fun competing against each other.
And you can see it's a very, very laid back user orientation. It's not intense or high. Well, it's not intense. All right, that's 4X. Back to the agenda. Remember, we're not recommending or rating these games, though all of the games are games the Merediths play. And I think that they're definitely some of the best in the genres that they're in. We are just explaining the ways people interact, the kids or the adults playing the games interact online. Among Us is a popular new game, so I thought I'd mention it in this category. There's a lot of different kinds of mobile games, and not all of them are like Among Us. The way that you interact online in Among Us, and in some other mobile games, but not all other mobile games, is essential to the way you play the game. So you have to interact with people to play the game correctly. You have to talk with them to play the game correctly. I put social deduction. What does that mean? Maybe you've played the game Killer before. You sit in a circle. One person is randomly and secretly chosen to be the killer, and he winks at everyone to try and kill him. Okay. It's similar to that. You're trying to figure out who the killer is, and you do that by process of elimination and by guessing and by collecting data. Maybe somebody knows this first thing, A equals B, and someone else knows B equals C. And you just collect information and go around and talk to each other to figure out what's the solution. Who's the bad guy? So Among Us is very fun, great game, and it does require a lot of communication between the players. A lot of
So
mobile
just
games
to
don't.
emphasize this little diagram you have with little geometry or math or logic or whatever you want to call it, I guess, is really just emphasizing that there is some logical thinking of different
Right.
players having different data points and they're needing to compare notes.
Right.
But then not knowing which of them is actually the killer. This is very similar to Killer because one of the killer is Among Us. That's why it's called Among Us, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. And I can say that this has been a pretty fun treat for cousins in our family,
Mhm.
ages 9 to 16 or even older, who want to connect with each other remotely, and they can get on an Among Us game and they can chat, and then they can laugh because Kathy was the killer or whatever, and then they just play another round. Would you say that's a good little quick description?
Absolutely. And it's a
Yeah.
very fun, very fast-paced game. Very fun. The last kind of game I believe is, oh no, we have one more after this. Idle games. And I don't love idle games. There's some people in our family who like them. Um,
The mom
the
doesn't like them.
the premise is you do a few things and then leave the game running for like a few hours and then come back and do a few more things. Idle. You're not really playing. I don't really think of them as games necessarily, and you don't really interact with other people online. You barely interact with the game itself. So things like Cookie Clicker, there's lots of mobile idle games. You click this cookie right here, and you generate cookies, and you use those cookies to generate more cookies. And there's no end, there's no point. It's just sort of dull. Well, that's
Yeah.
my opinion. No
All
online
right.
interaction required. If your kid's playing an idle game, you don't have to worry about it.
Except maybe that they're throwing away time. So there's that. So
That's true.
wasted brain power. But anyway, go ahead. What's next?
Nintendo and the like Switch, the Nintendo gaming devices are very popular among families. They play a lot of party games on Nintendo devices on the Switch. Party games like Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, Super Mario Party. These games are you need other people to play, but they're generally other people in the same room as you. So it's the same console, it's the same device. You're playing together, and maybe it's a racing game, maybe it's a brawler game. So in the rightmost picture, you can see there's two little characters, player 1 and player 2, and they're gonna duke it out. They have special abilities and punches that they can throw. And these games can be played online, and they can be played in person with each other. And they're generally played in person with each other. And they're great, fun, friendly games, and very, very group oriented. You can play them by yourself, but it's more often played with other people. Okay, this is just sort of a summary of where we've been. Yesterday we talked about League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, and a couple other tactical shooters, Fortnite, Minecraft, and then there's a review of what we talked about today. If there's any games we missed or any genres that you're curious about, definitely leave it in the comments, and we can ask. But are there any questions, Mom or Abby?
Two quick questions here. One referring to the Civilization game.
Mhm.
Someone's wondering, is that kind of similar to chess in the mindset there?
Let me go back real quick.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I would say it requires similar strategies to chess, and similar strategic thinking. It's not. Well, it's a lot different in the way that you play it, but it is played by similar people, and it has a similar feel to it as chess.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's a good answer, Nick, because our family likes chess and our family likes this game, but the games are different. It's definitely
Yeah.
not just two people with a flat board. It's more
Sort of
complicated.
the same mental processes, maybe, but different game.
And can I ask another follow up, Nick, with this? Isn't this a game where randomly like large full size people come on screen and ask if you want to invest in this or invest in that? Maybe one of them is made to look like Einstein and one of them is made to look like, or is that a different?
Well, kind of. You get to interact with other players, and there's a little
Okay.
avatar that will pop up when you interact with them, and you can trade with them. You can make alliances and form treaties. You can
Okay.
give them resources, things like that. Mhm.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll just leave that at that. Go ahead, Abby. What were the other questions?
And one more. So I think they're just trying to understand what the meaning of like the idle game. Would Candy Crush be considered an idle game as well?
So Candy Crush is not idle. The way an idle game works is, okay, maybe I could pull one up. let me see if I stop this share, if I can share my screen and just pull up a quick idle game. Candy Crush is, Mom,
Well, I don't actually play Candy Crush, but I know it's a game that that I know even adults kind of get addicted to. It's usually played on your smartphone versus a bigger screen, and yeah. So I guess I want to leave to Nick to explain the technical difference between classifying it as idle game
Mhm.
versus something else. I don't know what would be the actual classification of Candy Crush. Nick, do you know which category?
it's a puzzle game. So the
Puzzle
goal
game.
of Candy
Okay.
Crush, you have a little grid and you have to fill out the grid with certain shapes or certain boxes, and you swipe them left and right. If you've ever played, I don't know,
Like Tetris or
kind of like Tetris in the way that you fit the pieces together, maybe. So this is Cookie Clicker. I just pulled it up on my browser, and you click this cookie here, and it's like this is all you do for the game. Okay,
the
you could
entire game.
buy a cursor. Okay, now it's going to click for you, and you start generating cookies, and then you just leave the game for hours on end until you have enough cookies to buy another cursor, It's so an idle game. The purpose is to continuously generate more or get more, and you leave it alone for hours on end. Whereas Candy Crush is something that you play actively.
And we are going to be talking in the next couple of weeks about how to deal with. I know there's plenty of kids and adults in the world who find themselves, well, why am I still playing Candy Crush? And they're actually kind of addictive mindsets that are built into some of these puzzle games. And so we're going to be kind of getting into how do you deal with that and set boundaries in a healthy way that promotes good communication, and how can we benefit from the good parts about playing puzzle games or games like Civ 5 or whatever without just that distraction of wanting to be drawn toward the screen more than is healthy. So any other questions, Abby?
No, I think that's it. You did a good job answering those. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great. Well, kudos to you. Nick has done a lot of research to help us compile this list. And of course, this digital immigrant is deferring to the digital native to explain it all, but you won't be surprised to hear there were a lot of different genres and things that we looked at. We just could not even begin to cover them all between today and yesterday, but we wanted to set aside these 2 sessions to kind of run through some examples and help some of us parents better understand what kinds of choices there are. So yeah, as Abby and Nick both said, please put more questions in the chat or on the Facebook feed. We'll be hitting this again next week on Tuesday, January the 5th. We'll do a noon webinar, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and then the 12th, 13th, 14th. So we've got 6 more sessions. We hope you'll set aside the beginning of your lunch break, depending on your time zone, and we will see you there. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.